We say the whole is greater than the sum of its part. But how do we translate this wisdom into action during co-creation? What ignites the spark of innovation when diverse perspectives and skill sets comes together? How can we cultivate a sense of interconnectedness, moving beyond the limitations of our individual perspectives? One afternoon, while sharing tea with my young friend Marbelle, inspiration struck. We are brainstorming activities that could bring different generations together. Marbelle suggested creating something collaboratively like paper stars with messages written on them. I chimed in, wondering if we could incorporate open-ended prompt for later gameplay, like artist instructions. Through further brainstorming, our initial idea of artist instructions folded into paper stars turned into a full-fledged game. I added layers of complexity by requiring the prompts to be, number 1, multisensory, engaging multiple senses like sight, touch, smell, taste, and sound. Number 2, eco-conscious, promoting care for different species and sustainability. And lastly, completable in 15 minutes, ensuring the prompts can be fulfilled within a reasonable time frame. With hearts pounding in anticipation, we embrace the opportunity to create something completely novel and unforeseen. What began as a spark of excitement soon blossomed into a vibrant space of intergenerational and interdisciplinary co-creation. Okay, so
Cool.
we will start with picking one.
No talking though, eh, for 10 minutes. Right.
So
I know this one starting
This one feels good. The smallest.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is yours, right?
I'm not supposed to say, right?
So now picking
gonna choose.
this and opening reading both of them.
How was an experience?
Shit,
Really?
okay.
I like Susan's face expressions. Terrible or something.
So the one I chose is there is magic everywhere. However you choose to interpret that, find something that feels most magical to you.
Wow.
So I just started doing some writing and magic. What's magic to me? Something that is a pleasant surprise, something that invokes surprise, joy. A puppy dog, a cat, watching them play, a child, exploring new territory, new music, dance, a discovery where two people are talking and they find they have something special, unique, in common, unexpected, something that brings a gleam to the eye, warmth in the heart, a robin's new nest in your home that you are building, the sun coming out after a big rain, accompanied by a rainbow. Magic can be a beautiful piece of music heard on a stereo on a Sunday morning. And I brought out this because we have a cat and he's really magical. Benji is magic.
When I was brainstorming, I even just thinking about these stars, I really like things that have that very like magical aesthetic.
Yeah.
Things like I read tarot cards because I think it's so magical. But I think that magic can also come from a culture that has very like animist sort of philosophy where everything has a spirit, every house has a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, well, that's magical, but also I think magic also is just about like the little things that give a little bit of joy and wonder into everyday life. But so I was wondering like, what do people think that makes them feel magical? So I was curious to find out. I was kind of hoping someone would choose that and say like, I want to see what makes their life a little bit more magical.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Well, okay, I'll just show you next, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read it. Try to just use pen to draw or leave 5 different types of surface textures. So I really like this one. Because I'll explain what I did with this. I kind of like contemplated on the medium. So I actually decided to use the pen and then go around the room and then the environment. So basically, I'm looking how our environment is supplied by different forms, and then the interaction with edges or curves or material. So I just basically did different shapes. And then the more I was doing it, I was realizing that it was also a physical experience. I was getting kind of like, relieved. I was getting stressed. I was getting happy, like different textures. It was just being aware of it. So what it did for me is it made me being in the moment, in the present, what I'm experiencing, and just awareness, consciousness, raising consciousness, and my breathing. And it was a beautiful experience because I really liked it. I really liked this. So then I thought, of course, in terms holistically or of the macro scale, how communities are kind of ruptured sometimes. Like there's some maybe differences or conflicts and stuff like that. But then you can I was first starting with like jagged edges, and then it was like a musical thing, like kind of like curves. Yeah. And I said it could be anything. So yeah, it's like almost like if you look at a person, you go like, is he a jagged person or is he a smooth person? You could always like the character. It creates relationships, with people. So, was it you?
Yeah, that's my question.
What's your...
Yeah, definitely. I really like how you relate to the kind of like a personal scale, how different people have different personality that relating to textures.
Right.
Originally, I was more thinking of just kind of surface, maybe physical and all that, but then that was a really interesting kind of a perspective to that. Yeah, and my initial kind of thought was just using pen to kind of figure out how to represent different textures and using different techniques, and also incorporating some kind of exploration or observation.
Like even in like using different maybe brushes, it could be a different.
That could be a different question.
Use different, exactly.
But maybe I was more asking about using just pen and how to use just one simple tool to represent different kinds of things.
Right, to start out. Right. Nice.
Listening to you, when you say feelings, I was imagining the EKG, the heart.
Yeah, that's right.
So mine was, I can't read it out because I made it part of the thing I brought home, but mine was, we listened to the land decide what to do. And this confused me at first because I don't know what to do. So I went outside and listened to the land. So I was outside, and then I stood there and listened to like the birds chirp, like the crows. Actually, crow singular. The singular crow, which I only really realized like after sitting outside for like a amount of time and listening to the patterns of nature around your house. So it was very magical, and it was so quiet, which I really liked. But I think also what I realized with time was that the land is not just about like nature, like the crows and the birds, but also about the community that we live in. Because the most dominant sound was actually one of your neighbors like mowing their lawn or like cutting a bush. So it's actually like, well, we're part of the land too. It's not just about like trees and rocks and the ant that I just killed that was here. And so I picked up these leaves that were all on the ground, but I think I like seeing this like gradient of the color of the leaves. And these two just naturally fell on your like outside, because I think it shows also like the cycles of nature in land. And so I think it's like it shows the change of seasons, because the only thing that's constant in life is change. And then so I was going at it, and then I tied your prompt to it because I thought like the only thing constant in life is change, but also it's us. It's the only constant, also us being in life, being part of the land. So I thought it tied together with your prompt, because you're part of the land just as much as these leaves are.
So was that you?
I think that was
Very good idea. That was
Who's
very
coming
good.
from?
based on Baruch.
Oh,
Baruch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's very. It's interesting because I love, by the way, your
It's
description.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful because it's a very difficult concept because I think we're bombarded by we forget what land is. You know what is. Yeah, you should put that right there. And then this kind of like relationship with land has been so kind of like multi conversations. You know, if you look from, you know, like it becomes very politicized, right? So which is actually interesting because we forget about humans. What we want to do with the land is like, what does the land want to do? You know, and I think Ecuador was the first country to make in the courts like rivers now have or land have a legal right to decide. It's like it's amazing. It's like what we have no idea because it's a live energy, right? But it's a form, right? And I can go on. I love this.
Yeah, this is just looking at it, and this is like a really symbolize what we're doing intergenerational exchange, and even see the aging spot. They're looking closely. It's so beautiful. Not aging spots.
Oh, right.
But
That's a good point.
Yeah, and then I'm kind of in between here, going through this.
Right.
But we are all representing of this leaves.
That's really beautiful.
Coming from the land, and we are like that.
Death is a part of life.
Cool.
Oh, wow, well done.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's
Really
nice
beautiful.
interpretation.
Mm-hmm. And this is completely like a multi-sensory things as well.
Right.
You didn't expect that.
Well, the strata, it's almost like the strata, you get the land on the top soil. Here I'm going into geology, but it's like how the layers are. There's tunnels, you know, this is like tunnels, and then these are rocks maybe that are embedded, you know, what life is, you know.
Yeah. Passage of time too. Well done.
Yeah, I guess my turn. The thing I got was take something from the trash and find a meaning for it so that it is no longer trash. So I dig through the inorganic trash that we provided.
Is that yours? Yeah.
So basically it's mostly just some boxes and electronics and stuff. So I kind of turned that into kind of like a for office organization, multi-purpose organization box.
In 15 minutes?
I actually have something similar in my decks, but I was just using a shoebox, but this is just other boxes. So we have an area for pens, there's like holes in there. There's an area for name cards, business cards, and just tear some paper there. You can put some documents here, and I was thinking maybe using that as like a charging station.
Oh, I'm thinking coffee.
That works too, I guess.
Coffee,
Yeah, it's just something I just took it out from the trash and then put them together, I guess.
Cool.
It's a real like useful form. It's almost like you made it into functional thing.
Thank you. I'm just trying my best to reuse them, I guess.
Wow. Well done. Did you how did it come about? You just examined the trash, talked to them like a little while, or the idea?
Yeah, I was actually quite confused and don't know what to do with all the boxes before. And then I just look at. I think firstly I saw that there was like holes in those kind of boxes, and I feel like it would be perfect for putting some pens in there. And then just standing from there, and I just feel like maybe it can become kind of something you put in your office and on your desk, and then make it into like an organization because it's boxes.
Wow.
Found objects. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
When I was actually coming up with the prompt, I was thinking of the one of the lady that we are featuring about the can collector, and then we often say zero waste things, but do we really exercise it? And then, but really for me, trash. What if this what we're doing is human society like trash? It could be, some mental institutions, or could be, east side. It could be I don't know. It's place where like human society that we don't normally think it's useful, but how this could be this exercise, undercurrent is that how can we be more inclusive, and then people can play a still role in a society like this, turn into something, be contributing to the society, but we need to go through the trash, take attention to, and I don't know. That's something that I was thinking. Means trash means to, what that means in that scheme of life. And then also, even this trash, like a material-wise, it's all come from the same materials as this or this. It's someone make an effort to produce this.
Right.
It's just a different now that we suddenly see this as a trash. But is it? That's sort of, yeah.
There's actually a pretty interesting concept between what is a waste or what is a discard.
Yeah.
We learned about how I think it's discard as something you don't use anymore and it's not integrated back into the system. But then waste is something that you can continue to moving on, like just kind of using even like human feces, it can be turning back into the nutrient cycle and all that. So that's something for thinking about waste and discard and trash.
Yeah.
Don't they use elephant dung to make paper?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that, like watercolor.
And certainly, just animal is fertilizer, natural fertilizer.
So the other examples. I mean, it's like in a way there's a spirit in that, right? Too, like it's you're throwing it away. It's an object that somebody has taken care of and produced it. It's like are we respecting that? There's all that stuff and this kind of consumerism going around.
But it's got a new energy with its new use.
Yeah.
A new purpose.
Yeah, transformation. You're changing the meaning of that. It changes, and then it kind of has a different life. So,
How was putting that together? Like, was that joyful for you?
Yeah, I love how to because they're all different, kind of scattered around, and just it's interesting how they can fit each other. Because this one is outside, and they can fit inside perfectly. Just okay, that's great, and it just can be. And now I can just think of something that I can use that for. It's a very creative kind of a way to think of different things.
And I like the way you started. It was very in the box, right? Then you started, they were random, and then you kind of like
you have to
put some kind of a form to it. Yeah, right. Interesting.
So it's a lot of, brain work for that creativity. It's really, really good. Really, good. I could see this being, this is a great game.
And unless we do this in a participatory, collaborative or this way, we will never come up with this idea.
No,
come up with this idea.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's the kind of the magic of this co-creation and collaboration, that we see different perspectives and experiences people bring, and then even coming up this question, it's kind of reflects everyone's kind of expertise.
Oh yeah. Values. That was a wonderful exercise coming up with them.
Yeah, there's so much magic in that too. How do you discover it?
There's more.
So this is the magic vessel.
Oh yeah, because it's the future. It's almost like this magical. It combines actually the elements we're talking about. How the unknown, right? The black hole. And it's like. All these people have been observing, and it's still magical. We haven't. The science is not going to solve it.
But imagine, you did it. We delved into the unknown, and
true, right?
What come out of it is certain discoveries and then delight. We can think of application of this, not necessarily reproduce this, but imagine this usage for different.
Well, it's almost there's evidence to that, this actually, it's not like an experiment, but it kind of works. And then, it's a tool, you can use it for
but I mean, I
the
could
plaza.
See it.
Can we use this at the plaza?
I could see, this is like, what's it called, where you getting to know people, but just like it is a very good way to get to know people, and it certainly gives you opportunity to be creative and share. And I think it's a great community builder.
I like that we bonded together over struggling how to make papers at times.
That was the hardest one.
But it was okay.
Humor too, right?
Yeah. What were the other questions?
Let's go around and read what we had in mind. Because
mine also not all of them made it in.
Right, same here.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you go.
Okay, so if you had the power or even the opportunity to change the world with the most positive impact for many people, what would you do? If you picked 10 aromatic plants, brought them to a group setting, how would you promote conversation and fun?
Film an adventure episode in the city for a blind person.
Find a new quiet place where you feel at peace and wander and explore. Something that reminds you of home, whatever that means to you. And then we all have gender expectations of us. What's a gender expectation that has burdened you? Throw it into a fire.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, my first one is what is an object that is meaningful to your family? Identify something or some places that are conventionally seen as bad, undesirable, sketchy, but you can still find its value and positive sides. And last one is being present with yourself and then find what's your current mood.
Oh, these are great.
Yeah.
It's a good game. It's a great game.
And it tells your strengths and personality too.
Yeah.
I can see that all the things that you mentioned. Yeah. Everybody has tapped into
all of the tree ones. Yeah. I feel like I totally answered. Yeah.
Good profession.
Wow, well done. And thank you everyone.
Yeah, it was fun. Really fun.
Enjoyed it.
For doing this. Yes.
I'm going to package it and use it somewhere else.
Yes, by all means.
This is
You
totally...
need this. You know.
They're ready-made. They're ready to go. It's simple, and I'll try it with that situation. And I belong to a community, and there was a conflict, and we were stuck. Like when we were trying to work as a group, then it's like there's a disruption, but that could be a tool, especially when you said you put it on a neutral kind of container, and then you're almost empathetic to what the other person is, so instead of judging. Right?
I think the important thing is you need everybody in the group to be open,
to agree on
to take this risk, and that's not always a given.
Right.
And one thing that I think is working is that instead of every question was prepared by someone else, each one contributing to put it in,
right.
That's already make people ready to be part of
the process already started.
Yeah.
It's almost like you get trapped by the solution. It's like you don't worry about the solution. Who cares about the answer? It's like the process. And then let it solve itself.
Exactly. Yeah. And then look at nice, beautiful.
It's lovely.
And then look at it as that in itself.
So thank you.
Well, thanks.
So much.
We'll
That was so
head out
fun.
because I got to get going to the next
Next
meeting.
event. Yeah. Forget a collection of scattered stars. Imagine co-creation as a vast, vibrant galaxy. Each participant brings their unique light, their talent, insight, and experiences, contributing to luminous constellation of ideas. As we create and play together, our individual light intertwine, sparking new connections and possibilities far greater than any one star could achieve alone.